What's better in the end of the world, a pistol caliber carbine or something like an AR-15? What are the advantages and disadvantages to picking either one? Because it's a horse apiece. Now, obviously, if you have a bunch of money, then what you do is you buy your rifle, you buy a handgun, and you buy a shotgun, and then you're covered. But if you don't, and a lot of us do not, you got to make a decision between what you're going to do. So, for rifle, like a 223, obviously one of the biggest advantages over a pistol caliber carbine is ballistics. A 223 walks ballistic circles around any pistol caliber carbine. It's just a more superior cartridge. Weight. The ammunition of a 223 weighs less than the ammunition of a pistol caliber carbine. If you don't believe me, just look at the bullet. 45 ACP, you're looking at a 230 grain projectile. Then you got 8 grains of powder. Then you got the casing weight and the primer. With a 223, you're looking at 55 grain projectile, casing, and powder. The projectile alone, what does a 223 weigh? 100 and... I wrote it down somewhere. Let me check real quick. I think it's 186 grains. So a fully loaded 223, 185 grains. A fully loaded 223 weighs less than just the projectile of a 45 ACP. 9mm, 115 grain projectile. So a fully loaded 223 only weighs... So 130 grain? Or are they 115? I'm not really a 9mm fan. I can't remember if they're 115 or... I think they're 130. So we're looking at what? 50 more grains, you get a fully loaded cartridge. 50 more grains over just a 9mm projectile. So the ammunition weighs a lot less. It's ballistically superior. It's easy to shoot. Trying to shoot a pistol caliber carbine at, say, I don't know, 300 yards, you gotta put some work into it. That's not an easy projectile to shoot. 223, that's a cakewalk. Like, that's where it shines, is at like 300 yards. Next, obviously, would be if you're in an actual, like, gunfight end of the world. Well, a 223, realistically speaking, is going to be the most prevalent cartridge out on the battlefield. Because everybody's going to run that because it's just better. So what are the advantages over a pistol caliber carbine? Resource consumption, because remember, there's not just one end of the world situation where it's this gunfight and everything's going crazy and people are shooting at each other. There's a way more realistic end of the world situation, which is called, like, the Great Depression. It happened in the 30s.
Even though most Americans had not profited from the economic boom of the 1920s, they bought many exciting new products and services during this era of unrestricted credit, living well beyond their means.
2004, we went into a massive recession, damn near a depression.
From December 2007 to June 2009, the United States suffered an extended economic downturn that came to be known as the Great Recession. During the Great Recession, more than 8 million Americans lost their jobs. Nearly 4 million homes were foreclosed each year, and 2.5 million businesses closed.
And now we're looking at hyperinflation. The cost of everything is going through the roof. Alright, I need to explain hyperinflation just in case you don't understand it. I'm not an economist. Know this. I'm just going to give a simpleton explanation of it, so at least you have a general spitball relative idea of what's going on, so you understand the gravity of the situation we're currently in. Alright, food up 8.6%, gas up 64%, rent up 16%. Why is this happening? That is because 40% of all American dollars in circulation were printed in the last 12 months. And a lot of people don't understand what a dollar is. They look at this as gold, as in this has value itself. This piece of paper, it's got 4 sides, it's flat. They see a value in this. This is fiat money. There's nothing backing this up. So what does that mean? Don't look at this as a dollar. Look at this as a work voucher. So what I do is I do a job really, really well, and I get a work voucher, so I don't have to raise chickens, milk cows, make clothes, make entertainment for my family. I can just concentrate on one job, and then I can trade this work voucher for those other things I don't want to do, so I can specialize in that one particular job, making us stronger by using these work vouchers. Okay, I got this for doing that job, which has work attached to it, and I trade it for something I don't want to do, something I'm not good at, so I don't have to do it. What's happening is, let's pretend I do this job, flipping burgers, and I get a work voucher. If you double the work vouchers I get, I haven't put in any more work. Therefore, I'm not making more money, I'm making the money worth less by 50% by paying me twice as much for doing that job, because I've still done the same amount of work. So now, instead of this representing the work I've done, this represents the work I've done. Because you wouldn't trade somebody work, because that's what this is so you can trade work for work. You wouldn't trade somebody work like, say, open heart surgery for them to flip a burger in your kitchen. If somebody's flipping a burger in your kitchen, you're going to pay them less, or you're going to give them less for doing that. You're going to return them services, but it's going to be less of them compared to somebody that saves your grandma by cutting them open and doing surgery because of how much work they had to put in to be able to possess those skills to be able to do that. You're going to trade them more work for it. So when you look at a dollar, look at it as a work voucher, not money itself. So you got X amount of work, we'll say 1 hour's worth of work attached to this dollar. If you give that same amount of work $2, now this dollar is worth 50% less because the same amount of work is still attached to both dollars, if that makes sense. These represent the work you've done. So the more you get for the work you've done, the less these are actually worth, because now instead of a full 1 hour's worth of work, this is only worth 30 minutes of work, and this is worth 30 minutes of work. That's why less dollars in circulation is better, because then the dollar is worth more. And if you're putting in less work, but you're getting the same amount of money, now you're not producing into the whole grand scheme of things, so there's less being done, but you're consuming more. It's just a snowball effect to this not having a value at all. Because what does this represent? If you got this for free, there is zero work attached to this, which means it's worth shit. Not a damn thing. There is no value to this at all if it comes for free. You haven't put anything out there to get this that symbolizes, so you put nothing out there and you get this. What does this symbolize for work? There's no work attached to this. That's what's the problem with hyperinflation. They would just keep raising it so it equals out to the amount of work people are doing, because that's the whole point of a dollar, is to trade work. I might be good at milking cows, but every time I raise a chicken, they die. So I go and milk the neighbor's cows who has chickens, and he gives me a chicken that's already raised. That's what we're doing. That's what this represents. You're trading work for work. So if you got this without doing work, this is worth shit. And that will come calling. I'm not going to try to tell you how bad things may or may not get, but there's a lot of these out there that have shit attached to them. There's no work attached to them. And because this is not backed up by gold or silver, it's just fiat money. The only reason its value is because enough people believe in it. People stop believing in it because they're like, I'm not going to take that dollar because there's no work attached to it. I want you to go out there and plow that field. This burns up. It goes away. It's gone. Back into the Great Depression. Again, if you have a bunch of money, well, then it don't matter. You'll just stockpile the ammunition for your flavor of rifle, and then you're good to go. But if you don't, like you're just a poverty class worker, like most of us, because that's what most of the population is, like 1% is upper class, the rest is all just poverty. Resource consumption becomes an issue. Especially space, where you can store the ammo. You can store a lot more 45 or 9mm in a smaller space than you can a rifle round, just because they're shorter. Now with resource consumption, I've already done this in a video, but I had to pull that video. So I'm just going to play that part. If you could do it all over again with the resources you have now, would you do it the same and base your pistol caliber as like the end of the world survival and shotgun? If I had the resources now, I had back then, because this apocalypse, end of the world, reloading setup I got there, that was done in 2013. I cannot express to you how little amount of money I had back then. I would clear about 20 bucks a week. Like after all my bills and everything, I had $20 left over. At that time I smoked cigarettes, so that would cover my cigarettes and fuel, which basically meant I was walking to work most of the time, I was eating out of the food pantry, and smoking cigarettes, and still scraping a little bit together by doing side jobs like people's garden work and stuff like that to buy reloading supplies. So that's why I went in the direction I did. With the resources I had now, I would consider 223 just because of how many parts are out there for an AR-15, etc. But like for example, on a 45 ACP, on average, you're going to be loading between 8 and 10 grains of powder. A 223, the smallest one on here, is 20 grains of powder. So more than double the powder consumption. But I could just buy double the powder. And I'll have a more better rifle, more capabilities. So if I could do it all again, honestly, I would base my emergency apocalypse reloading supplies off of 223. I'd have something like 50,000 projectiles, multiple barrels, like 50,000 primers, and just an absorbent amount of gunpowder. And that would just be sitting for like if we went into the Great Depression again. If I have to pull a deer, because yeah, I'd be working at a farm to get food for my family, but you know, if I come across a deer or something like that, that's a free meal right there. That's a meal I don't have to work for. I would feel way more comfortable taking that game with 223 over, say, a 45 pistol. I also have a crazy amount of 22 long rifle ammo, but again, a 223 would be a better choice. So if you're where I was back then and you have like no money, I would make your emergency, the dollar crashes, apocalypse ammunition, some sort of pistol caliber carbine, just because of how much less resources it uses. For the bullets, hell, you could just go start taking wheel weights off of people's cars, melt those down and turn it into bullets. You can get lead anywhere. Like, there's so many opportunities to grab lead, it's so simple. And it takes very little powder. The only problem is you gotta have your primers. The casings can be reloaded just a ridiculous amount of time before they start to split. Rifle, you get anywhere between like 4 to 10 reloads and that casing's done. Have I ever thrown away a split casing on a pistol? If I have, it's very few. And they've been reloaded over and over and over and over again. Like just, I can't express to you how many times it's been reloaded. So like if you got a pistol caliber carbine and a pistol that also shoots that same projectile, even if the carbine breaks down, you still got the pistol, so it's still a backup. So with the resources I have now, no, I would center it around 223 because it's a more capable cartridge, more capable rifle. Yes, it does cost me more resources and I can only buy the bullets unless I start loading subsonic, then I could use lead bullets, but otherwise a lead bullet will just melt down in the barrel. But with the resources I had back then, that's why I based it off of a pistol caliber. So yes, like a gunfight, end of the world, yeah, a 223 is going to rock. And if you have the money to stockpile 223, the 223 is the better choice, hands down. No competition there. Plus then you have a shotgun, so if you find shotgun ammo, you can shoot shotgun, and then you have a pistol, so if you find pistol ammo, you can shoot pistol. But, like, rewinding back to what I was saying in the video, at that point in time in my life, that just wasn't feasible. What was feasible is I buy my 45 dies, I buy a bunch of primers, and I just keep reusing my cases. Hell, 12 gauge ammo, a lot of times has the same exact powder that's in the pistol ammo. So you could like take apart a shotgun shell, turn the shot into a pistol projectile, which you could run in your pistol caliber carbine, do a couple experiment rounds with different weights of powder so you can figure out how fast that powder burns. If the case splits or it's got a bunch of recoil, back it down a little bit. If it don't cycle, increase it a little bit. And then so I found this box, like Walmart Special 100 case of 12 gauge ammo. Break all that down, melt down all the lead, make 45 projectiles, take the powder, figure out the charge that would be required to move that projectile that far. Boom, now I have 45 ammo out of 12 gauge ammo, which I feel is more usable. I mean, yes, you could take that shot and just turn it into a slug and then put it back in the cartridge, which would actually be pretty damn effective. But you might want to carry a sidearm. So also, another advantage, like if you went with a pistol caliber carbine, you're only scavenging parts for one type of ammunition because your pistol would match your pistol caliber carbine, so you're making one ammo, but you're feeding two rifles. With a 223, you're feeding a rifle. And then if you have a pistol, then a pistol, you would be feeding your pistol ammo. So you'd be looking for two different types of resources. And I believe like some sort of depression or like the dollar crashing is a much more realistic end of the world situation, especially, you know, with everything that's going on. And we're actually seeing hyperinflation, and that's an indication that possibly we may be looking at some hard times ahead of ourselves, like wearing potato sacks for t-shirts. But we'll not get into that. We're just talking about like realistic. Yes, it's way more realistic that we're going to have some sort of major financial problems where you'll be working somewhere for table scraps because that's the only job you can get. It would be nice to be able to conserve resources, and then if you see game or something like that, that's a free meal. You take the game. I'd rather take it with a 223 without a doubt, but if you're in the situation where you can't prep up for a 223 right now, you could prep up for a pistol caliber carbine, and that's much more easy to feed than over a 223, with the exception, obviously, because like if the world falls apart and everybody's out shooting at each other, well, 223 is going to be ammo everywhere because that's what everybody's going to be using. So you only got to win one battle and then you got more ammo. If that makes any sense. But anyway, I hope that clarified my thoughts on the whole 223 versus pistol caliber carbine and the end of the world situation. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, even if you don't purchase what that particular link is for, just clicking on that, and then doing the shopping you were already going to do anyway. I know a kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.